G'day everyone, Wayne here from Koali. Well, I thought I'd do a little bit of modification to the drain system on our display refugium, which is currently being used as a holding tank for all our corals since we have moved. We've got our 125 gallon aquarium empty, so at the moment we've got all of our corals sitting in our display refugium, or soon to be display refugium, and for the longest time we've been using one of these hang on the back drain boxes, and everyone that uses them I'm sure hates them. I mean, they get the job done, but they're a real pain in the butt, they're noisy. I mean, there are things you can do to quiet them down, but you know, I thought I'd try something different, and I've seen on Joey's channel, the king of do-it-yourself, he's made an overflow system. It's an updated one that seems to have a lot higher water flow. I've put one together, this crazy looking contraption here. So let's have a better look at what I've made. So we're all ready to go now to test it out. What I've done down here to make sure how well the Venturi's working, on the end of the air line I put a little tap which I've got turned off, so once I get the water flow flowing nicely, I'll turn that on and see actually how many bubbles come out through the Venturi. I've done one little modification before, so I've already tested it out and I'm not getting any water flow. I put a little breather in the top here that comes from the main drain, because as I'm priming that back line through the homemade funnel, which is the top of a soda bottle, I believe this line that goes into the tank isn't filling up the water, so I need a breather at the top to let the air out of there as well. So let's start filling up the line. Oops. Don't want to be spilling water everywhere. The joys of a homemade funnel, eh? So that should be by rights filling up both of those pipes. Let's see how much more it'll take. That's about full. So I guess what I've also done, I've got one of these little check valves with a bit of airline hose on. Just stick in there. Probably silicone that in to make it more airtight at a later date. Now the next step is to turn on the check valve, and fingers crossed we get some good water flow. turn on the return pump. That looks like pretty good flow. I'd say it's a bit more flow than what I had before. One way I'll be able to test that. A bit of tape there where my water level was. So that'll indicate if it's flowing faster, it should go above that mark. Hard to see. Flowing well. Now I'll put this little bit of pipe on the end here. Up to the mark. Water left over back in there. Fair bit of water noise. Now I'll plug top of the protein skimmer back on. So I dropped my water level before. No, actually the water level in the sump was higher before, so the protein skimmer was overflowing. Figured I'll just take that off. It needed a clean anyway. This main noise, just take all these makeshift covers off. Here's my return. I didn't want it to siphon when I turned it off. Got that about water level. Now the water level in the tank is a little bit lower than what I could have it. There's not going to be any fish getting down in there either. Turn the light on. There'll be no fish getting in there. So I can give it a little bit of a tweak still. I've actually got this pump here is rated at 1200 gallons. I've actually got a 800 gallon an hour pump now for this aquarium. So probably next step will be swapping the pumps over. Hopefully I mean this one's dialed down, I'm pretty sure. I've got this one dialed down. I'll get that pumping a lot faster yet. As you can see Water level's starting to drop now. But yeah, I'm really happy that it's flowing flat out. It's already getting a lot of bubbles. Well, I've been doing a bit of tweaking now for a little while. It's actually taken so long that the lights have all turned on. Got the water level now at the tape mark. It's actually running a lot faster than what it was before. Put this bit of pipe on here, which helps to quieten things down a little bit. I'll take it off. See how fast it's flowing. It does make a lot more noise. Just keep this little bit of an extension on there to silence it down a bit. Helps a little bit with the filter sock too. So I did have a wave maker in here, but the water flow is actually quite fast in here now, where I've decided I don't even need the wave maker. I mean, this is going to be a display refugium, so once I get all these corals out and have macroalgae growing in here, this will be ample flow for the macroalgae. And you can see the drain there. Working nicely. Flowing really well. Now little Nemo will not be able to get down there as much as he'd like to try. We used to have two of them. One of them actually did get down the other drain box. Managed to get him back into the tank, but eventually he ended up jumping out of the tank and onto the floor, and we lost him, so yeah, we've only got one clownfish left. But yeah, very happy with the water flow. Give you an indication. That is the water flow I'm getting. It's major. Now, as for this little Venturi, because this is going to be a display refugium with a lot of macroalgae, and you probably know that during the cycle where the lights are turned off, macroalgae do consume a lot of air or oxygen. So I wanted to supplement that by adding more oxygen to the system. That's why I thought I'd try this Venturi little setup. I've got a little tap. So as you can see, with the tap on and it's turned off, see how much bubbles is just naturally being formed. But what I'll actually do, I'll take the tap off and just instantly see a whole heap more bubbles being generated in the filter sock. And as a comparison, I put my finger over the airline tube and see the difference that it makes. Instantly dies down. Take my finger off and a lot more bubbles. So it's a really good natural way to add more air to your system when you're going to have a lot of macroalgae. as I'm going to have a lot of chaeto down here. I'm also going to culture some phytoplankton down here, that's the plan. It's going to be a natural filter for the main display. It's going to be plumbed up to the main display and act as a natural filter, like a giant refugium. So of course this is going to be the display refugium. This is where all the sand is going to go in that I took out of the main display. The main display is going to be bottomless, it's not going to have any substrate. I've decided to go bottomless with that. So once we get the 125 going, all the coral will be going out of here into there, and all the sand will be going in here, and then it'll be having some macroalgae growing in here. I'll put a little bit of live rock in the middle, sort of as a divider. All over this side I'll have the crown of flames, which you've seen mentioned in a previous video, which is actually still sitting in that reactor at the back there. It's been growing in there for over a month now. I actually haven't taken it out yet. I have looked at it through the little window. I can see it's growing and it's still red. But yeah, very pleased with how it's going. I think the Venturi will work well, adding more air when the lights turn off, so the macroalgae doesn't deplete the water of too much oxygen and suffocate the fish. So I'm aiming at a natural system that works well all together, with a display refugium set up with my main display. I almost forgot, you might have noticed when I first showed you all the pipes before I installed it, this little teed off section of the blue tap and the connector fitting. The reason for that is I do not have a automatic top off on this aquarium. So that is for over here. I have my RODI water. Got another one of these connector fittings on there. Currently got a pump inside turned on, which is too dark in there to see, but there's a pump in there circulating the water. That tap there is open, so the water just circulates around in a loop. So if I ever need to top up the water in the display refugium, just connect this bit of hose from there, run it across to this one, do up the quick connect. That's the whole reason really why I've got the tape here for my water level. As it evaporates, as you can see, it's down a little bit. As the water evaporates, the water goes down. So if I want to add more water to it, just hook up this tubing from the RODI bin up to this tap. Open up that tap. That will make the water go from that tee down into the sump. And it's just a matter of open up that gate valve, close off that so it's not recircling anymore. The water will go down into the sump. Wait for the water level to rise up. So that's at the bottom of the tape. And then just turn off the blue tap. And that's how I replenish my evaporated water. And it's just a matter of turn off everything here, open up the recirculation, turn off that. Now I'll just put a container underneath so I can disconnect that. There's always a little bit of water trickles out. Don't want it to go all over the floor. So now that's a lower point than where this tap is. I can disconnect this. And no water leaks. I'll just drain the remainder from the hose into the container. Easy as pie. That's a neat little trick I thought I'd show you. So thank you for watching, and leave any comments below and give it a thumbs up if you like it, and if you're not subscribed, and I hope you all have a really good day.